Addressing the interactive dialogue on arbitrary detention and counter-terrorism at the 22nd session of the UNHRC in Geneva yesterday, Deputy Solicitor General Buanek Aluwihare emphasized that the tolerance of terrorist front organizations in foreign countries could lead to the rejuvenation of terrorism in countries which have effectively eradicated terrorism.
As a country that has suffered immensely under the scourge of terrorism for over 3 decades, Sri Lanka unequivocally condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Sri Lanka notes that the Special Rapporteur has recognized some of the gravest violations of human rights are committed by or on behalf of non-state actors operating in conflict situations, including by domestic or international terrorist networks. Sri Lanka is aware of the many faceted dangers of these international networks operating in foreign jurisdictions, including in the form of front organizations, while continuing to receive overt and tacit support from host societies. This tolerance and accommodation could lead to resurfacing and rejuvenation of terrorism, which has been effectively suppressed in countries that have suffered from it.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Sri Lankan Permanent Representative to the UN in Geneva, Manisha Gunasekara, says that Sri Lanka acknowledges the important role played by the civil society in the promotion and protection of human rights. She made this statement during the interactive dialogue with the Special Rapporteurs on torture and on human rights defenders held yesterday.
Sri Lanka acknowledges the important role played by civil society in the promotion and protection of human rights and condemns acts of intimidation or reprisal alleged to have been committed against such individuals or groups. Sri Lanka also welcomes the observations by some delegations recorded in the summary of the Council panel discussion on the issue of intimidation or reprisal against individuals and groups who cooperate or have cooperated with the UN, that facts relating to alleged acts of reprisal and intimidation be established on the basis of objective and reliable information from credible sources that have been duly cross-checked to the greatest extent possible, and information be gathered from multiple sources to avoid a unilateral approach.
Speaking at a media briefing held today, Opposition Leader Ranil Wickremesinghe commented on the UNHRC session in Geneva.
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ ජෙනීවාට ගියේ නැහැ. සම්බන්ධ වුණේ නැහැ. 2009 යෝජනා
The United National Party did not go to Geneva. Following the 2009 proposal and the pledge given to the team behind the Darusman report, the government has accepted that violations of human rights and international human rights law in this country can be looked into. They have also pledged that they will take action against these people under Sri Lankan law. So the government has arrived at a stance that differs completely from the stance that we took. In accordance with the stance that the government has taken, it is pointless for us to shout back at the Human Rights Council because they will point these out. There is no point in telling Navi Pillay either, as she will also point it out. Why is Sri Lanka in this position even after I removed Sri Lanka from the International War Crimes Law?
Also speaking at a media briefing held today, former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca expressed these views on Sri Lanka's actions during the UNHRC.
The policies that America adopted with regard to Sri Lanka thus far have now changed. They have said that friendly ties from the past will not remain the same and that they are preparing to object to violations of human rights in Sri Lanka. Although various government representatives and the government tattle on about various things, the government did not take a concerted effort to discuss and resolve this matter through a proper procedure. The representatives who went from this country met with the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, and when they were prepared for discussion, our representatives objected to it. We believe that they called the ruler of this country and asked for permission.
ඒකට අවසර ඉල්ලන්න ඇති. ඉතින් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේදී රටට ඉතාම නරක කාලයක් ඉදිරියට එයි.
Now, India is of the view that Sri Lanka should engage with the United States and report progress, if any, made on the Lessons Learnt and Reconciliation Commission report. With a resolution set to be moved on Sri Lanka at the UNHRC session in Geneva, addressing journalists at the Indian parliamentary premises today, External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid said that Sri Lanka should arrive at a consensual draft which is acceptable to everybody. Khurshid noted that he had told Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Professor G.L. Piris, to treat the issue as a humanitarian issue and not a matter of ego. And on that note, up next is the newspaper cartoon of the day.
අයින් කිරීම කෙරෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොනොත් එක්කෙනෙක් අයින් කරනකොට එයා පිටපස්සේ තවත් 100 ගාණක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ සේරම ටිකක් අයින් කරනවා.
On to more headline news, a petition was filed at the Colombo High Court today seeking bail from for MP Duminda Silva, who was remanded yesterday in connection with the killing of 4 people, including Bharata Lakshman Premachandra. The petition was filed by the MP's father, Wilson Premalal Silva.
The Attorney General and the officer in charge of the 3rd Special Investigation Division of the Criminal Investigations Department have been cited as respondents in this petition. The petition notes that on the day of the incident, MP Duminda Silva sustained gunshot wounds and as a result, a section of his skull had to be removed. The petition also stated that MP Silva was admitted to a private hospital in Singapore for a prolonged period of time and that he is currently receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo. The petitioner requests that MP Duminda Silva be released on bail and he is in no position to influence any witness or other persons involved in the case given his current health condition.
4 people, including Bharata Lakshman Premachandra, were murdered on the 8th of October 2011. Let's take a look back at the events that unfolded thereafter.
A shooting took place at the Valpola Junction in Mulleriava on the 8th of October 2011 at around 3:30 p.m. 4 individuals, including the Presidential Director General on Trade Union Affairs, Bharata Lakshman Premachandra, were killed during the shooting. MP Duminda Silva was admitted to the Sri Jayawardhanapura Hospital with serious injuries. Final rites of Bharata Lakshman Premachandra performed at the Umagilia grounds in Kolonnawa. MP Duminda Silva, who was shot at, subjected to a scan. Doctors announced that parliamentarian Duminda Silva was taken off the respirator. Evidence presented before court in the case pertaining to the deaths of 4 individuals, including Bharata Lakshman Premachandra. Doctors announced that MP Duminda Silva's health condition was improving. Reports emerged that parliamentarian Duminda Silva had left the hospital.
We will take a look at the events that unfolded thereafter tomorrow.
On to another one of our stories making headlines tonight. Discussions held between the chairman of the National Selection Committee, MP Sanat Jayasuriya, and Tilan Samaravira were unsuccessful as the selectors had been unable to persuade the right-hander to continue to play cricket.
Chairman of the SLC National Selection Committee MP Sanat Jayasuriya held discussions with Tilan Samaravira at Sri Lanka Cricket Headquarters in Colombo this morning. The discussion was held in an attempt to convince Samaravira to reverse his decision on retiring from international cricket. Speaking of sports first following the discussion, Sanat Jayasuriya said that Tilan Samaravira had revealed that he stands firm in his decision to retire.
Tilan Samaravira sama සාකච්ඡාවක් තිබ්බ මොකද තීරුම් කමිටුව අද තමයි යාගේ ක්‍රීඩාවෙන් සමගන්නවා කියලා ලිපිය ලැබුණේ.
We held discussions with Tilan Samaravira as the selection committee got his retirement letter only today. We explained to him our point of view, but he stated that it is the right time for him to retire. It is his personal decision. We have to respect that.
කමිටුවේ අපි අත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා ඉතින් අපි අපේ පැත්ත පැහැදිලි කරලා කිව්වා ඉතින් යාගේ තීරණය අවසාන තීරණය ඉතින් ඒකත් යාගේ පෞද්ගලික තීරණයට අපි රෙස්පෙක්ට් කරන්න ඕනේ.
Tilan Samaravira, who represented Sri Lanka for 15 years, was listed in SLC's central contract this year as well. He was not listed under the first 3 categories of the contract but under a special category. The National Selection Committee did not take measures to include Tilan Samaravira in the squad for the first test against Bangladesh starting on Friday.
බංගලදේශ සංචාරේ කලින්මත් අපි කිව්වා අපි සමහරක් වෙලාවට අලුත් ක්‍රීඩකයෝ බලන්න ඕනේ.
At the outset, we said that we would utilize new players during the series against Bangladesh. Hence, he was not included in the initial 20-member squad. However, we brought him in later owing to the injuries sustained by Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardena. When Sangakkara recovered, we felt we should try out new players in the middle order. Therefore, we did not list him in the final 15.
ක්‍රීඩකයෙක්ව බලන්න ඕන තත්ත්වයක් තමයි තිබුණේ. ඒ හින්දා තමයි අපි තිලාන්ව 15ට ගෙනා නැත්තේ. මොකද 15ට ගේනවා නම් තිලා සෙල්ලම් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් ගෙනාවේ නැත්තේ එයා ක්‍රීඩා කරන්නේ නැති හින්දා.
Meanwhile, following the meeting with National Selection Committee Chairman Sanat Jayasuriya this morning, Thilan Samaravira, expressing his views to Sports First, said that he was surprised by the Selection Committee's decision to exclude him from the test against Bangladesh. He added that acknowledging the decision taken by the Selection Committee to give opportunities to new players, he retired from the sport.
When
the SSC officials informed me that I am being called up to the 20-member squad, I engaged in training sessions with the team. After the final 15 was selected, no one contacted me. After I handed my retirement letter, then the National Selection Committee called me for a discussion today to reverse my decision. They explained their point of view of having 2 senior players among newcomers for the test against Bangladesh and for the test against Zimbabwe, which would follow. They also said that they are looking at my experience for the series against Pakistan thereafter. But there are 9 more months for the series against Pakistan. Since they are looking to give opportunities to newcomers, I took a decision. I think this is the right time.
Thilan
Samaravira debuted for Sri Lanka in ODIs in 1998 against India at Sharjah. Thilan, who debuted for Sri Lanka in tests against India in 2001, has so far played 81 matches and has amassed 5,462 runs, inclusive of 2 double centuries and 14 centuries. He holds an impressive test average of 48.67, which is only bettered by Sri Lanka's batting stalwarts Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardena. Thilan Samaravira, who made his motherland proud on many occasions, had to face several challenges. He sustained injuries in a terrorist attack in Lahore during a tour of Pakistan in 2009.
Orders under the Sports Act were debated in Parliament for a second day today. Here are some of the views expressed during today's debate.
What are the qualifications that are needed to hold these positions? He has presented disqualifications and there are a few more that should be added. I say to him to add bar owners to this. He also mentioned politics and I say that any ministers and MPs and their families also be removed. Those involved in gambling and their families cannot participate and those involved in trading in sports equipment cannot be involved. That is fine. When transparency and conflict of interest and all these things are considered, it will allow the cleanest person to come in and take positions. This process is good. Nishantha Ranatunga is holding a position at CSN while being Secretary of Sri Lanka Cricket and is receiving tenders. We have continuously said that this is wrong. Not only that, this was also discussed in COPE. They said that there was a conflict of interest. Some in the government seem to not understand this. We have learned that after he found out about this law, he had resigned from his executive position at CSN. If this is being brought, then those who had connections to these in the past cannot contest. If there was a connection with a media institution, then make it so that they cannot contest for 5, 7 or 8 years. Otherwise, anyone can leave tomorrow and contest the election. People like Arjuna Ranatunga work tirelessly to give cricket a reputation in this country. What Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage is saying is correct. The 10 or 15 cricketers cannot divide the money among them. Test cricketers earn their money through the strength and labour of those playing cricket in the villages.
ශක්තියෙන් ශ්‍රමයෙන් තමයි මේ ටෙස්ට් ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩා කරන ක්‍රීඩකයෝ ලබා ගන්න මුදල් ලබා ගන්න.
We can talk about everyone's shortcomings and failures, all the information is available, but this will not benefit the sport today. For some benefit to come to sport, we must create a program that will take us forward.
අපිට මේ සදාචාරය ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාව ආරක්ෂා කර යුතුයි. ඒක අපේ පෞද්ගලික දෙයක් නෙමෙයි.
We must protect those ethics and the sport of cricket. It is not a personal thing. We saw Minister Mahindananda take decisions regarding monies due to players. I agree with those decisions. But on the other hand, you must also consider that the individuals who brought the cricket board to this level are still there. There has been no punishment and there will be no punishment in the future as well. This needs to change. I know that if you try to punish them, you will have to face problems. In our time, the cricketers never spoke about administration, but today the cricketers are talking about administration. They speak of the chairman, secretary and treasurer. They express views on who should be the chairman of the selection committee. This is what is called the loss of discipline. I think a lot of respect is due to Minister Gamini Lokuge for creating this situation. I am saying this while he is here. We are starting to pay for the damage that was caused.
ඒකට මම හිතන්නේ ලොකුම ගෞරවය අපි දෙන්න ඕනේ ගාමිණී ලොකුගේ ඇමතුමාට. එතුමා මේ හිටියනම් මම කොහොමද කියනවා. එතුමාගෙන් ඒ වෙච්ච විනාශය අපි තාම ගෙවන්න පටන් අරන් තියෙනවා.